The noble dissolution, the repressed anger just beneath the surface of what had been the celebrated and elegant Brown family was far more abhorrent than the blistering Arizona desert heat outside Flagstaff. Behind the wrought iron gates at Robyn Brown's lavish rental, something was brewing, furtively, cleverly, with ghastly precision. Kody Brown sat alone on the porch of what had once been home to him, or so he thought. The silence around him was oppressive. The blinds inside were drawn. No cinematographer, no laughter of children, no wives, just unfilled foreclosure forms, stacks of unpaid bills, and a groaning wooden desk that strained under the weight of his failure. He was dead broke, and the biggest shock for him was how fast it all went through his finger. To start, it was a dribble, skipped digits and scattered paperwork, but soon enough it became a flood. First, Kody nearly brushed off a suspicious bank notice, not realizing it would be the initial undeniable tip. Hi again, reality recap. Don't forget to give me that thumbs up. The notice was about a transaction in the name of Dabzark Entertainment, LLC, a company quietly set up by Robyn amidst their success on TLC. It was hidden in an otherwise long, inactive business account, though, incredibly, untouched money vanished. Other investments, from Kody's life insurance policy to a parcel of land in Utah, and even the Coyote Pass Trust, were either transferred mysteriously or simply drained dry. Kody had explained it away as sloppy accounting at first, until harsh reality slapped him in the face. Aspen, the eldest daughter of Christine, had been secretly working with Mary to audit neglected LLCs they formerly co-managed with Kody. What nobody knew was that Aspen had been on the way to a career as a forensic accountant, and what she found caused her to shiver. Decades worth of withdrawals from group marriage funds had been smuggled undetected and on purpose into Robyn's clandestine financial system: shell company, fake consulting fees, and wire transfers to offshore bank accounts. Aspen spoke to Kody in a clipped, incredulous tone. She's been stealing your money for years, and she didn't do it by herself. Step forward. Miles Thatcher, a smooth, debonair, and unexpectedly placid man, formerly an ex-financial advisor, and now, amazingly, Robyn Brown's boyfriend. Seated before a microphone on a Bombshell podcast interview, one dedicated to revealing reality TV bombshell, Miles answered with shocking composure. I met Robyn at a wellness retreat in Sedona, he said. She was raw. She was furious. She said Kody never looked at her. She said she was sick of living in other people's shadows. She needed a plan. The interviewer's eyes flickered. A plan? Miles brought his face closer. She didn't just want out. She wanted it all. The house, the land, the back-end royalties from TLC. She claimed she earned it. Kody owed her the negative publicity. Next, Miles dumped a manila envelope onto the table. Inside, emails explaining how Kody's assets had been systematically and quietly shifted into Robyn's name without his knowledge. Records of offshore wiring and even photos of Robyn and Miles sitting down at private banking facility. TLC went dark. The network offered no word for weeks. Executives had quietly considered calling off Sister Wives altogether after the divorce plotlines imploded and ratings plummeted. That is, until this scandal exploded like a bomb on social media. TLC eventually issued an official statement announcing an immediate internal review, expressing serious concern over the ethical and fiscal ramifications of Robyn's purported embezzlement. Broke and embarrassed, Kody begged for a second chance to return to air, to be heard on his side, but it was too late. Christine, Janelle, and Mary had already formed and signed an exclusive deal with a rival platform to produce a new docuseries, Sister Wives Reclaim. We are done with Kody and Robyn's antics, Janelle informed producer. This time, it is our narrative. The suits just continued piling up. Even his grown children, Gabe, Gwendolyn, and Pawn, had deserted him. In a viral TikTok clip, Pawn wrote, "You let Robyn burn it all down. While you were still going on about unity, she was playing chess." In the aftermath of her relocation to Montana, Robyn and Miles opened a boutique resort centered on healing and empowerment for those escaping emotional bondage. Their grand opening made waves all across the internet, going viral for days. And Kody, last seen scribbling into a worn notebook, he now lives inside a rundown RV parked on the outskirts of a friend's ranch. 6 months later, Sister Wives was officially canceled by TLC. From behind the blacked-out window of the RV, morning sunlight fell upon disheveled court paper, past due notices, and that single-framed photo of his children, to a day when way back then betrayal had not yet corrupted their lives, and the empire had fallen. With rumpled hair and haunted face, he woke up. This was not how he had planned to spend his later years. Proud that once he had been famous as the head of a plural dynasty, Kody now woke up to nothing but regret, betrayal, betrayal, and the loneliness that accompanied them. His bank accounts shuttered, his reputation tarnished through shame, his legacy now spun by tawdry tabloid headlines and biting courtroom testimony. Previously, though, something in him would not give up entirely. Kody's path to redemption wasn't initiated with a comeback. It was initiated with humiliation. He started releasing mediocre videos from inside the RV, trying to protest. In a strained voice, he said, "I didn't deserve this. I gave everything for that woman. For all of them. I trusted Robyn completely. While she lives in Montana with her new partner, I'm sleeping on a foam pad beside a leaking sink," he added. But the internet didn't hold back. He was mocked ruthlessly. Memes exploded. Comments that called him Kody Kardashian, the king of gaslight, and brown-nosed buffoon. Hashtags like #Robyn did it better trended. But one dip resounded differently. Kody, his eyes bloodshot, his voice shaking, whispered, "I'm sorry if I ever made anyone in my family feel invisible. I never meant to. Somewhere along the line, I lost sight of the one bleeding to make my dream possible. It was raw. It was too late, but it was real." Still, decades of favoritism, broken promises, and misplaced loyalties weren't going to be cleansed by an apology. Then the unexpected arrived. One quiet night, Janelle appeared outside Kody's RV, with Logan, their eldest son, by her side. Kody, gaunt and exhausted, stood in the doorway holding a cracked coffee cup. "What are you doing here?" he asked, more confused than threatening. Logan spoke first. "To talk. Just to be human." Inside the cramped, cluttered room, Janelle sat down across from the man she once loved. She spoke softly. "You hurt me, Kody. You hurt us all," she whispered. "But I never wanted this for you." Kody's eyes welled up. "I thought I was keeping us safe." "No," Janelle said softly. "You were keeping her safe." She took a moment. "And now that she's gone, you have nothing." They talked through the night, talking, not to make amends, not to repair, just two humans sifting through the wreckage of what used to be. And for the first time in years, Kody listened. In the meantime, Robyn's kingdom began to crumble. The lawsuit ratcheted higher. Prosecutors could not ignore the window Miles Thatcher's public confession had opened. Kody agreed to cooperate in a separate probe into fraud. "I'll give you everything," he told his lawyer. "Emails, phone records, signed documents. She swindled me, used phony LLCs to suck me dry of everything." And he did just that, handing over box after box of incriminating paperwork. In Montana, Robyn got a subpoena. The fallout was immediate. Her boutique retreat began to disintegrate. Sponsors pulled out. Bookings were canceled. Outside her retreat, camera crews from local news stations lined up. In desperation to shift, Robyn and Miles released softly lit videos online selling healing from financial trauma, hand-holding soul surgeons. I love my mom," Aurora continued, "but I will not stand for what she did." She recalled being present when Robyn exploited Kody, draining his account, smiling in his face. After midnight, when Robyn spoke of freeing herself, Aurora conceded something always disturbed her. "She even tried to caution Kody once about it," Aurora said. "He told me I was fantasizing," Aurora continued. "My mom would never do that to me," he said. "He spoke to me like I was not even there." As the interview reached its conclusion, she wept. "Well, he believes me now. The return of the one they called unpredictable." As Robyn's reputation exploded and the noose of the law closed in, Kody discovered a surprising thread of connection in Maddie, his eldest daughter. She had stood apart for years, but when TLC approached her with a behind-the-scenes offer to create a mini documentary detailing the aftermath, she agreed, on one condition: she would be in charge of how her father's story would be told. The working title, Brownout: The Fall of a Patriarch. Kody refused. "I don't want this to be a sympathy piece." Maddie nodded her head. "It's not. This isn't about sympathy, it's about accountability. The ugly, painful, possibly even redemptive truth." In the final shot of the new docuseries preview, Kody stands alone at the border of Coyote Pass, a land that was supposed to unite his sprawling family. Now, only dusty terrain and lingering memories remain. A single line echoes on the breeze: "Sometimes you lose everything, and then, only then, do you see yourself at last." Then came the hammer. Federal rigs rumbled on the gravel, kicking up dust as they drove toward Robyn Brown's boutique retreat, early in an otherwise still Montana morning. The wind caught its breath. At the door, wrapped in an expensive fleece shawl, Robyn opened up and was greeted by 3 agents and a federal prosecutor. "Robyn Alice Brown?" one asked. She clutched her mug and nodded stiffly. "You're under investigation for embezzlement, financial fraud, and the misappropriation of marital and business assets." Her complexion drained of color. Behind her, Miles Thatcher stood frozen. He hadn't expected it to go down down so fast, or that the accusations would reach him as well. The Miles unmasking. Not even Robyn could anticipate what came next. As officials started sniffing into their boutique hotel's ledger, an even more shadowy scene started to emerge. Miles Thatcher wasn't just a goody-goody counselor. While Robyn's so-called healing phase, she was seduced by his impeccable manners and honey-smooth words. Actually, Miles had been previously investigated for money laundering through phony wellness businesses in Oregon and California. He was a disbarred wealth counselor operating with a number of aliases. One of his companies, Pathway to Rebirth LLC, mysteriously shut down the same week the IRS started an audit. The agent's follow-up questioning focused on Miles's manipulative tactics and Robyn's role in a bigger financial conspiracy. She hadn't anticipated this direction of questioning. Already upset, she lost it during her deposition. "He said we were starting over," Robyn cried. "He said I'd be free, that Kody had taken advantage of me." She said she knew nothing about the shell company. She knew nothing about the other women, but police were no longer buying the act of innocence. The discovery revealed everything. In early hearings, the state brought forth a damning digital trail. Dozens of emails confirmed that Robyn had directly authorized transfers from the family's joint LLCs into foreign accounts. Even more shocking, Kody's signature had been forged on a promissory note to sell the Coyote Pass land. Then came the private messages. Court-read chat logs between Miles and another associate painted Robyn in a humiliating light. In one text, Miles wrote, "She thinks I'm her savior. I'm only here for the cash, then I'm gone." Gasps ran through the courtroom. Robyn, having overheard those words uttered aloud, openly cried and buried her face in her hand. From the rear of the courtroom to the left of Mary and Janelle, Kody could only whisper, "Now she knows." The backlash went nuclear. The scandal spawned a tabloid-feeding frenzy. TMZ, People, Page 6, D-Line, they all covered it. Headlines broke out. Robyn Brown, queenpin of reality TV, the sister wives, scandal of love, lies, and LLC. Miles Thatcher, manipulator or mastermind? Undefined. A popular true crime podcast titled The Brown Empire reached the #1 spot on Apple's charts within days. In episode 2 of the podcast, Mary spoke frankly. "We brought Robyn in because we wanted harmony," she asserted. "But she never did believe in us. She always had to control the story, be the one standing in the end. And now she is alone, exposed." The trial begins. Robyn Brown was formally charged with multiple counts of felonies: wire fraud, bank fraud, identity theft, conspiracy to commit fraud, and tax evasion. Similar charges were brought against Miles Thatcher, but unlike Robyn, he cracked under stress. He struck a bargain, accepted a plea in exchange for testifying against her. And with that, any hope of depicting Robyn as an innocent victim was gone. She was directly and fully complicit, actively engaged in steering Kody's earnings, defrauding TLC contracts, hiding streams of income, and funding a secret freedom plan for their clandestine escape to Montana. His words caused shivers in the courtroom. "She wanted out," Miles stated harshly, "but without the money." He quoted her verbatim, "If I leave him with nothing, I control the narrative. I become the victim. And in America, victims are forgiven. Always." She was cold, she was calculating, and she knew exactly what she was doing. Robyn falls apart on the witness stand. Robyn Brown barely recognized by the time she testified. Bony and traumatized, her eyes lacking sparkle. In a plain black blazer, minimal makeup, she tried to hold herself together. But under cross-examination, when questioned about doctored records and Miles's betrayal, her defenses collapsed. "I just wanted a life where I mattered," she cried. "I was always the fourth wife, the bad guy on TV for years. You don't know what it's like to smile before the cameras and have people despise you. Miles did make me feel like I was someone. I never meant to hurt anyone." Then there was one last question from the prosecutor. "Did you ever consider that what you were doing could destroy the father of your children?" She paused. Then she whispered, "No, I didn't think he'd even notice." Convicted, Robyn Brown pleaded guilty on 4 counts of fraud and conspiracy. Her sentence: 5 years of supervised probation, 18 months of home confinement, restitution to Kody in the form of $890,000, and a permanent judicial prohibition against owning or running any business entity without direct supervision. The judge had something to say about how her remorse only materialized after she was caught. As for Miles Thatcher, he wasn't let off. With no chance of early parole, he received a 4-year sentence in federal prison. The final goodbye. After sentencing, Robyn was returned to her newly vacant Montana house to complete house arrest. It was all over: her business, her relationship with Miles, and any lingering public sympathy. Her kids didn't come. TLC wiped her off its websites, removing all programs that she had appeared on. Her once celebrated online boutique boutique was deluged by hostile reviews from the same fan base that had once adored her. Kody, on the other hand, didn't dance in her destruction. Instead, he put up a single short sentence on his now deserted blog. "It cost me everything, but now I see clearly. Robyn's prison without bars. The once quiet Montana boutique, her dream and pride, was now Robyn Brown's prison, addicted and bereft of its charm, its mission, and its identity." Under close supervision with a court-imposed ankle bracelet, she padded barefoot through the vacant echo of her lavender-scented halls, now stale and dissipating. There was no music, no oil diffusers, only quiet legal papers and dust-tinted windows. She was not allowed to leave, no social media, no financial stipends, no company. Her phone rang each day, collectors, reporters, but never her kids. Aurora's distant. 2 months before sentencing, Robyn's daughter, Aurora, departed, took herself off to rehab and signed up for a North Carolina community college, studying psychology while living with Maddie and Caleb. In a Raw podcast episode called Escaping the Shadow, Aurora spoke out. "I used to think my mom was a victim, but with the passing of the years, I saw how readily she lied, even to us. I refuse to be manipulated by her anymore." She paused, then whispered, "I still love her, but she didn't just break up Dad. She broke up all of us." She spoke of growing up in a house filled with midnight brawl, whispered conversations about burning it all down and rebuilding, and secrets stacked on top of secret. "All I ever wanted," she said, "was peace, and I had to leave her behind to go seek it out." Kody, rebuilding, quiet. In the distance, Kody Brown returned to Arizona. No longer a reality TV personality, he'd picked up working once more. Part-time construction project manager for an old friend from Coyote Pass days. Not for fame, not for the show, just to finally, quietly live. He moved into a small, prefabricated home on the outskirts of Flagstaff and started attending a weekly men's accountability group hosted by a local community support organization. One evening, he finally broke open to the group. "I wanted to blame her," he explained. "Maybe I still do, but I ignored the signs. I let her leave me apart from the ones who cared for me most." He didn't say the names Gabe or Garrison, but the sorrow in his voice didn't need interpreting. Next, one afternoon, Savannah showed up. She dropped off lunch, hugged him close, and gave him a simple card. "We miss the old you. Off to seek him out, please." Christine, Janelle, and Mary, now they were all doing amazingly well. Mary had established a well-attended speaking tour regarding recovery from spiritual abuse and was being nationally recognized for being honest and strong. Janelle, a staunch finance educator now, co-founded the Sovereign Sisterhood platform with Aspen and Maddie. What was their mission? To demonstrate to women how to rebuild after divorce, stand on their own financially again, and recognize the signs of emotional manipulation. All 4 women began fresh. New love, new concept of freedom, through their hit TLC-sponsored docuseries, Sister Wives, Reclamation, led by Christine. Their point? You don't have to burn your past to build your future. You just need to start not letting someone else write your story. The final seasons of Sister Wives may have been off in ratings, but the audience had made it very clear. The true survivors were the ones who left. Now it was the children's turn. It was Gwendolyn who had first come up with it, a reality YouTube series by the Brown children themselves. The name? Legacy. Sister Wives Children. In the premiere episode, Gwendolyn said, "We're not here to trash anyone. We just wanted to talk about what it was like to come of age in that world, the beautiful, the terrible, and all the things TLC left out." Each episode covered a real issue. Spiritual coercion, being the forgotten child, the lie of the happy polygamous home, and how Robyn and Kody's relationship cut through them all. Leon even returned for a powerful episode titled Identity versus Doctrine, working through the internal struggle of being LGBTQ+ in a religion that had previously disowned them. In 2 short months, the channel had passed 4 million subscribers. Then Robyn's letter came. Robyn wrote letters to all the members of the original Brown family 6 months into house arrest. Some were tough, some were intimate. Not all of them were desired. To Kody, she penned, "I've always loved you, but I loved more the illusion of flight. I thought I was making something new, but I was doing it once more. I apologize. Not for the indictment, not for the financial gain, but for how I used love as a tool of war." Kody never survived it. He tossed it in the fire pit following the second line. Mary posted a photo of her letter on Instagram with the notation, "Not enough. Too late, too familiar." Janelle didn't even open it. Only Christine responded, with a sentence by itself. "You won't find peace in lies, but I hope you do." The final scene. TLC crews returned for one last special, a final Sister Wives episode filmed in an open field near the old Coyote Pass property. Everyone was there. Kody, smoother and older with gray in his beard, stood in the center. Mary, Janelle, Christine. They stood tall, with dignity, unbroken. The kids laughed together in the distance, basking in healing, but Robyn wasn't with them. When the wind picked up, Kody looked toward the mountains. "I thought I was the shepherd when I started this family," he said. "Turns out, I was just another lost sheep. They no longer need me to lead them. They're doing it by themselves. And maybe that's the essence of a real legacy." Already, however, the resurrection was in progress. 14 months into house arrest with fewer than a handful left to serve, Robyn Brown quietly began plotting her comeback, not to the family, but to the limelight. Her Montana shop was out of business years. Her children had disowned her. Miles Thatcher, disgraced and now incarcerated in a low-security federal prison, had gone dark. Even the idyllic retreat where the small media outlet had called home now rang out with nothing but despair. Then suddenly, the phone did ring. It was an independent digital news site, famous for their coverage of contentious stories, raw and unfiltered. "We want to offer you the opportunity to share your story. No editing, no tender loving care, just you and the truth." Robyn saw this as her moment, not just to vindicate herself, but to reclaim her story. Throughout the interview, she said, "I was cast as the villain." The teaser, in and of itself, was inflammatory. Sitting calmly, dressed in muted greens with her hair pulled back tightly, Robyn faced down a young journalist in Robyn Brown Unfiltered. She declared, "They painted me as the snake, the gold digger, the destroyer. But no one ever asked me how I lived as the victim of America's most dysfunctional, polygamous nightmare." Claire had her sobbing, defending her marriage, and subtly insulting Christine, Mary, and Janelle. Christine always disappeared. She hated me from day one. Janelle was too. Mary? She wanted Kody back, yes, but more than anything, she wanted him to hurt. And me? I stood by and caught the flack. Backlash. It hit me hard. Before the whole interview even aired, several Brown children publicly repudiated Robyn. Gwendolyn made a YouTube video titled, "So You're the Victim Again? You stole from our dad, manipulated us, cut others off from him. You knew exactly what you were doing." Pawn made a vicious TikTok. "It's like a fox crying in the henhouse when Robyn talks about loyalty. For if she loved Dad, she would have stayed. But no, she stayed to script the ending." Most especially reclusive Aurora, who had not uttered a word in months, posted a viral remark. "I'm ashamed. I don't want this woman telling our story anymore." The whole interview was broadcast live on an evening on a Thursday to more than 2.5 million viewers. Robyn stayed calm at first, but under interrogation, tears streamed down her face. She mentioned trauma and suggested that she'd been coerced into making certain money moves, though never explicitly stated so. The interviewer challenged. You've never really owned up. You still blame people. Can you say this out loud? Robyn stumbled, then spoke in a barely audible whisper. I stole from Kody. I lied to him. Did I hurt anyone? In a home never open to me, I did what I had to do to survive. That episode, recorded, cut, and uploaded, went viral overnight. The one-liner was made a public low point, made into memes and t-shirts. Critics and media called the interview narcissistic meltdown. One headline read, Robyn Brown. From laughingstock to villain, a mom to victim. TLC responded quickly. A public statement of first read, Robyn Brown has no affiliation with TLC, its current programming or future plans. What she does is her own, and not representative of our values. In a rough turn, TLC revealed a fresh spin-off featuring the Brown children. Legacy disrupting the norm. Preview voiceover stated, we had a dysfunctional upbringing. We'll not bring up our kids that way. With bolder, more assertive voices than their parents ever allowed, the next generation stepped forward. Robyn's final exile. After that disastrous interview, Robyn began a personal blog to recast herself and profit from her story, titled The Other Side of the Story. She posted 3 pieces. Thousands of vitriolic comments poured into the first 2. The third, ironically entitled Why I Still Believe in Love, crashed her server with traffic. Then came the coup de grace. Accusations of phishing fundraising scams compelled GoFundMe to close down her donation page. Alone at last, as federal monitors took off her ankle bracelet on a chilly spring morning, Robyn stepped out of her Montana home. Her hair flew in the wind, her bathrobe billowing. She was free, but with nowhere to go. No family, no fans, no call-ins, no waiting husband. Her retreat sold at auction to cover restitution, her car repossessed. Her lawyer stopped taking calls. What had been her hoped-for stardom had become a trap. Seated alone in the empty kitchen, she scrolled through social media, not hers, but Aurora's, Brianna's, and Dayton's. They were all successful. No mention of her. Her phone rang. Blocked number. She didn't answer. The last scene. Gwendolyn stood at Coyote Pass with her brothers in the final minutes of Legacy's season finale. They had come back, not to build, but to bury. Every child put a small symbolic item in a box. Maddie contributed an old script for TLC. Logan put in a pamphlet from Robyn's aborted retreat. Leon put in a long-held family portrait in there. Aurora put her mother's final unread letter in there, hands shaking, but steady. Under a tree, they buried the box. A plaque read, "This is the version of us that was never allowed to speak." Hand in hand, the Brown kids stepped forward toward their future. Let us hear from you in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more news like this. Thanks for watching.